Welcome students. Today I will study the same that is Japan and Brazil part 4. I have divided this lesson into 4 parts. The first part was introduction and regarding Japanese manners. The second part was about the traffic in Brazil. Third part was comprehension, short answers. And the last part is comprehension, long answers. That is 4 mark and 6 mark questions. So that we are bringing you up to the exam oriented pattern. Just not only knowing the lesson, you should know how to answer and how to score marks. So today I'll deal with the 4 mark and 6 mark. As I told you, textbooks there will be a lot of questions. I combine them in such a way that you have an answer for 1 or 2 questions together, so that it becomes easy. And in exams, there is no strict rules that comprehension 2 will be 4 mark and comprehension 3 will be 6 marks. It can be either way. So you should be ready. You have an answer. Suppose if the same answer comes as 6 marks, you have to slightly expand, give an introductions, and it will be okay. Okay, first question is, let us see, comprehension Ali. Okay, I come to the comprehension. So let us see. One is over. Now we have comprehension 2. 2 and 3 we will deal with today. So the comprehension 2 nalli, first question is, it is not there in the text. Describe the manners of the people of Japan. Describe the manners of the people of Japan. As I told you, have a paper and notebook in your hand. Please start noting them down and take some notes, because we will not have sufficient time when we come to the college. So I'll go slowly. I have told you to take down 1 mark questions. Now it is 4 mark question. First one is, describe the manners of the people of Japan. Manners of the Japanese people. Answer. Japan is a small island but thickly populated. It is a small island but thickly populated. During the Second World War, it was totally destroyed when Hiroshima and Nagasaki were bombed. You know the history. Totally it was ground level. But the people of Japan are so hardworking and sincere that they now stand as one of the topmost countries in the world, in each and every field. In the field of industry, electronics, communication, whatever it may be, they are on the top. See, people prefer to buy Japanese items because they are so sophisticated, so much advanced in technology. So this stands another one. Then a quarter of an hour, we'll go to the answer. A quarter of an hour, 15 minutes in Japan is sufficient to know about the people of Japan. If you go to Japan, just be there for 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes, and you come across the people and you will know what kind of people they are. They are exquisitely well-mannered people. They are exquisitely well-mannered people. That means good-mannered. Though the island is overcrowded, they respect one another's privacy. Is very important. The island is quite crowded, thickly populated, but even then they respect one another's privacy. Very important. No one interferes in another's business or private matter. Nobody bothers. Nobody interferes in somebody else's matter. In India, it is the opposite. Everybody starts poking their nose into somebody else's business. Suppose a man is talking on telephone, the other man will just listen what he is talking. But they don't do that. That is called, they maintain privacy. Then, courtesy has a double function. Courtesy has a double function. Let us see what are the functions. Courtesy, it is courtesy. First function is, it is courtesy itself. And also substitute privacy. It is another term for privacy. Courtesy has a double function. One more question. It has courtesy and substitute privacy. The little red telephone instruments, small telephone instruments, landlines, they are kept on the counter or on a table because there's no place for constructing a booth. They don't have a space. So what they do, they just put a table or put it there, or it will be on the counter. That means it is in public. And they conduct their most confidential business transactions. They conduct their most confidential business transactions, their intimate love quarrels in public. They also have quarrels. They might have been angry with his wife. He comes back and then starts compromising, or he has a girlfriend and he starts. These are intimate love quarrels in public, but in perfect privacy. See this. They conduct their most confidential business transactions, their intimate love quarrels, and everything was in public, yet in perfect privacy. Anybody, any passerby could listen, but nobody does. Nobody does means nobody listens. A man's telephone receiver is his castle. A man's telephone receiver is his castle. Castle means Bhadravada Kote, fort, castle, both are same. There's a proverb, don't build castles in the air. Akashadali kote kattare ಕೆಲವರು. They just start dreaming and thinking many things. Anyway, so a man's telephone receiver is his castle. I hope you have taken down points. I'll again repeat. Describe the manners of the people of Japan. The question is not there in the textbook, but I am giving you. Japan is a small island but thickly populated. During the Second World War, it is totally destroyed when Hiroshima and Nagasaki were bombed. But the people of Japan are so hard-working and sincere that they now stand on the top of the topmost countries of the world in each and every field. A quarter of an hour in Japan is sufficient to know about the people of Japan. They are exquisitely well-mannered people. Though the island is overcrowded, they respect one another's privacy. No one interferes into another's business or private matter. Then courtesy has a double function. One is courtesy and the other is substitute privacy. The little red telephone instruments are placed on a table or on the counter as they have no space for erecting a booth. They conduct their most confidential business transactions, their intimate love quarrels in public, yet in private, perfect privacy. Anybody, any passerby could listen, but nobody does. A man's telephone receiver is his castle. I hope you have taken down. Then, see, this is the 4-mark question. The limit is about 80 to 100 words. So, if at all they ask it as a 6 mark, they may not ask, but then you have to slightly write a more. Second question is, why is bowing in Japan a complicated process? In the comprehension 2, is the first question. See the text, comprehension 2 nalli, first question. Why is bowing in Japan a complicated process? Or, bowing in Japan is quainter, more formal, more oriental. Do you agree? This is comprehension 3 nalli first question. Comprehension 3 nalli first question. Then one more question. Or, describe the mania of bowing among Japanese people. This is not there in the text. So, for all these 3 questions, comprehension 2, first question, why is bowing in Japan a complicated process? Comprehension 3 nalli first question, Bowing in Japan is quainter, more formal, more oriental. Do you agree? Or describe the mania for bowing among Japanese people. It's a very important question. It's quite often repeated. See, Japan baruvaga, they go ask about bowing. Brazil baruvaga, they ask about traffic. So this is an important question. So let us see the answers. So please don't be lazy. Take down points and then make a notes. The Japanese have a mania for bowing. So mania means craze. Mania, M-A-N-I-A, mania for bowing. Everybody keeps bowing to everybody else with a ceremonious solemnity. Solemnity means seriousness. So everybody keeps bowing to everybody else with a ceremonious solemnity. Bowing is still just like shaking hands or kissing the cheek, but it is quainter, more formal, more more oriental, and also infectious. See, bowing is just like shaking hands or kissing the cheek, but it is quainter. Quainter means old-fashioned, more formal. Formal means more official, more oriental. Oriental means Eastern. See, we say Western culture, Eastern culture. That is Oriental. You have studied in history about the East India Company. That was nothing but Oriental company. And also infectious. If one starts bowing, he bows too deeply or not deeply enough. He bows to the wrong man at the wrong time. He does not clasp his hands in front of him. They make some mistakes. That means it's complicated. That is how much we see. The Japanese have some complicated hierarchy in bowing. Hierarchy means levels. Hierarchy in bowing. That is who bows to whom, how deeply, and for how long. If two Japanese bow, neither is to straighten up before the other stands in front of him. See, neither is to straighten up before the other stands in front of him. You have seen in the starting the picture how a lady and a man is bowing. If you see, the lady's bow is deeper, more than the man's, and the man will get a first. So these are all reflected in the rank, and their position. The smallest difference in rank, standing, age, and social positions will be subtly reflected in a split second, in a fraction of a second. Who gets up first, who gets up later on. These are all reflects the difference in rank, standing, age, and social position will be subtly reflected in a split second. There are some basic rules inside the family. This was important. What are the basic rules in the family? The wife bows to her husband. The wife bows to her husband. The child bows to his father. The child bows to his father. Younger brothers to elder brothers. So younger brothers bow to elder brothers. And the sister bows to all the brothers of whatever age. So these are the rules in the family. That means the wife bows to the husband, the child bows to the father, younger brothers bow to elder brothers, and the sister bows to all the brothers of whatever age. Babies carried by their mothers on their backs. So babies are carried by the mother on their back in little saddles, pouches, in little saddles. What they do? When the mother bows, the babies also bow, but slightly condescendingly. That means slightly, not exactly as per the rule, but they also bow their heads. Then There are, in Japanese stores, they employ bowing girls. In Japanese stores only, they employ bowing girls who stand at the top of escalators and bow deeply and deferentially to all and sundry. They employ bowing girls who stand on the top of escalators. Escalators are moving staircases in malls and big markets. We find escalators. They stand on the top of the escalator and they start bowing to each and everybody, all and sundry. Then the conductors on the fast Tokaido line between Tokyo and Osaka. There's a railway line. It's a very fast line that is between Tokyo and Osaka. The line is known as Tokaido line. The conductors, they enter the carriage. Then they march to the middle of the coach, bow ceremoniously in both directions, and then start checking the tickets. See, they also follow this rule. They enter the carriage, march to the middle of the coach, they bow ceremoniously in both the directions, and then they start checking the tickets. In Nara, one of the parts of Nara is a place, a deer comes, a deer comes up, bows, stares at the man straight, then bows deeply, then snatches the food packet and runs away. See, in the park also, the deer observes people bowing to everybody. They also start learning to bow. What they do, if somebody comes with some food packets, they just don't go and snatch it. First they come, look straight into the eye, then bow deeply, then snatch the food packet and go away. So this is an observation which the narrator observed. Even the animals like deer, they have learned the habit of bowing. Then there are people, when they wait for the bus, at the bus stops, they are very gentle. They start bowing to each other. But when the bus arrives, they are turned into savages. They are turned into savages. Then they start pushing each other. They are stamping the foots and then shoving their elbows into other stomachs. That means they also observe the habit of bowing, but later on they become savages. So all these, this is a very important question. Generally it is asked. The limit is almost slightly more than 4 mark, but you can use it for 6 mark also. It's a very important question. What is that? Why is bowing in Japan a complicated process? Then bowing in Japan is quainter, more formal, more oriental. Do you agree? So describe the mania for bowing. All these are the same answer I have given you. Now next one is, we go to Brazil. The question is, describe, comprehension 3 Nelly, second question. Describe how traffic in Brazil leads to humorous observations. Comprehension 3, second question. Okay, this is also important. Nobody hurries in Brazil. Nobody, no tension. They will not hurry. People are leisurely. They are quite content. They are quite lazy. They don't hurry. But when they get a steering wheel in their hands, no speed is fast enough for them. But when they get a car, when they get a steering wheel in their hands, they go at the maximum speed. They don't bother. Gaining a tenth of a second is a matter of grave importance for all of them all the time. That means they want at least to get 1/10 of a second faster. So they go very, very fast. This is a common mania or craze among the Brazil people. Motor cars are extremely expensive in Brazil. This is another point. Motor cars are extremely expensive in Brazil as import duties are very high. The reason is import duties. That means taxes. It is very, very high. So motor cars are quite expensive. But in spite of that, the motor cars, vehicles is growing by leaps and bounds. Leaps and bounds means very, very fast. People start buying. Somehow they manage the money and they start buying. As a result, the pedestrian's life is becoming more hazardous every day. The life of the pedestrian is becoming more and more dangerous. Hazardous means dangerous every day. Drivers, they are on the lookout for pedestrians. When they come, when they drive the car, they just look here and there to see any pedestrian is available. And if a pedestrian steps off the pavement, he comes off the pavement, then the driver regards him as a fair game. He takes him and accelerates. So straight away he makes the goes very fast so that the other pedestrian is frightened. So when the driver observes any pedestrian stepping off the pavement, he accelerates. Then it is a fair game. The pedestrian jumps and runs for life. So the pedestrian is frightened. He jumps. Then he runs for his dear life. The driver and pedestrian behave like hunter and prey. How do they behave? Like a hunter and a prey, P-R-E-Y. And they smile at each other amicably. But even then, there is no enmity. They just smile, friendly, and then they go off. Then there is about between the drivers. If there are two cars, there are two drivers, what happens? The war between drivers is murderous but good tempered. They cut in, overtake on both the sides. They force you to brake violently and commit all the most heinous crimes of the road. See, they cut in. They overtake on both the sides. They don't follow the rules. They go to the left or right, whatever it may be, they will overtake. And then they force the other driver to brake violently. If you go in the front, he has to brake, apply the brake violently and commit all the most heinous crimes of the road. They smile at each other. They just smile. There's no anger, no hostility, and no mad hooting. There's no anger, no hostility, and no mad hooting. Hooting means applying the horn, making sound. In front of schools and colleges, there is always some board will be there. No hooter. That means no sounds. So, between the two drivers, there is no anger, no hostility, and no mad hooting. They smile at each other and go. There's a place in Brazil, the Avenida Presidente Vargas. The Avenida Presidente Vargas, refer in the text, is the worst place. One more question. Which is the worst place in Japan? The Avenida Presidente Vargas. One stands on one side of the road trying to cross to the other side. He stands from morning to evening. He is unable to cross. So speed, so crawling traffic at such terrifying speeds. He is unable to cross. So then he observes, he looks, sees one of his friends on the other side. He shouts at him. He waves his hand. He asks him, "Hello, how did you go there?" The other man replies back, shouting. He says, I have not crossed the road. I was born on this side only. This is a humorous ending. That means so heavy traffic and it's very difficult to cross the road. In which place? The Avenida Presidente Vargas. So the question on Brazil is only one. They can't ask any other question. That is traffic in Brazil only. So I'll again go revise. Please note down. Nobody hurries in Brazil. People are leisurely. And when they get a steering wheel in their hands, no speed is fast enough. Gaining a tenth of a second is a matter of grave importance for all of them all the time. Motor cars are extremely expensive in Brazil as import duties are very high. Yet, the number of motor cars is growing by leaps and bounds. As a result, the pedestrian's life is becoming more hazardous every day. Drivers are on the lookout for pedestrians. When a driver notices a pedestrian step off the pavement, he regards him as a fair game. He takes him and accelerates. The pedestrian jumps and runs for life. The driver and pedestrian behave as hunter and prey and smile at each other amicably. The war between drivers is murderous but good-tempered. They cut in, overtake on both sides. They force the other to brake violently and commit all the most heinous crimes of the road. They smile at each other. There is no anger, no hostility, and no mad hooting. The Avenida Presidente Vargas is the worst place in Brazil. One stands trying to cross, contemplating how such crawling traffic proceeds at such terrifying speeds. A man on one side of the road sees his friend on the other side and wonders how he could go there. He waves to him and shouts, asking how he had got over there. The other man yells back, telling that he was born on that side. So this is all about the question on Brazil. Now let us go to the vocabulary. There is some vocabulary section here. In that, the first they deal with the synonyms. You know what are synonyms? Synonyms are words having the same or similar meanings. Antonyms means they have the words having opposite meaning. First PU also we have come across this. So synonyms. Nim means word. It's a Greek term. Nim means word. Synonym means same. So synonyms are words with the same or similar meanings. And textbook we have some words for which you have to give the synonyms. So if you have the textbook, you please note down. I'll just read them and give the synonyms and you can write them, because your Google form only we will ask questions on this, because textbook in the all questions are over. I'll ask from the vocabulary area. First one is intimate. So intimate means close. Please write down. Intimate means close. Second is quaint. Quaint means old-fashioned. Quaint means old-fashioned. Third is majestic. Majestic. The synonym is grand. Majestic means grand. Fourth was deferential. See, deferential means almost equal. That means without any difference. Deferential. Fifth one is solemn. N is silent. Solemn. Solemn means grand. Very grand. Solemn ceremony. Grand ceremony. Amicably. Amicably means friendly. Seventh one, mystify. Mystify means to make it a secret which you can't understand. Mystify. Eighth one, murderous. Murderous means dangerous. Ninth one, auspicious. Auspicious means again it is very grand. Auspicious function. Auspicious. Then 10th one, hostility. Hostility means enmity. Hostility means enmity. 11th one, expensive. Expensive means costly. Expensive andre costly. 12th one, savages. Savages means wild. Wild people. They are called savages. 13th, accelerate. Accelerate means speed up. Accelerate, speed up. Then import. Import means bring in. Import. So bring in. Then 15th is complicated. Complicated means quite difficult. I hope you all noted down all the synonyms I have given. The words by the synonyms. So if I ask in the text, you should be able to answer them. Next is on parts of speech. That is same. One word can be a verb. It can be made into a noun form. It can be made into an adjective form. So these are some examples given here. First one is solemn. Solemn is an adjective. Write down there. By the side of the solemn, you write adjective. Solemnity. By the side you write noun. Solemn is adjective. Solemnity is noun. Second one, infection. Infection is a noun. Infectious. This is an adjective. Third one, ceremoniously. This is an adverb. Any word ending in ly is always adverb only. Ceremony is a noun. Appreciation is noun and appreciate is a verb. Amicable. Amicable is an adjective. Amicably, again ly, is an adverb. Hostile, adjective. Hostility, noun form. Accelerate, speed up, accelerate, verb. Acceleration, noun. Ambulatory, adjective. Ambulate, verb. Knave, adjective. And knavette, that is noun form. Then fascinate, verb. Fascination, fascination is noun form. Then adhere. Adhere means verb. Adherence, noun form. Dynamic, adjective. Dynamism, noun. Deprive, verb. Deprivation, noun. Eminent, adjective. Eminence, noun. Generous, adjective. Generosity is noun form. I'll give one or two more. Advise, advise, that is verb. Again advise, advice is a noun. S baruvaga verb, C baruvaga noun. Same, similarly, practice, practice, it is verb. Practice, again, practice, it's a noun form. Bathe, bathe, verb. Bath, bath, noun form. Clothe, clothe, this is verb. Cloth, cloth, noun. Pure, pure, adjective. Purity, purity, noun. And this is called vocabulary. As you know, if you want to learn very good English, you must have a good command of vocabulary. You must have very good vocabulary. It's very, very important. Vocabulary means the number of words you know. I may know about 10,000 words. You may know about 5,000 words. Somebody else will know 1,000 words. That is a vocabulary. If you have good vocabulary, you can write well, you can speak well, and it's very, very essential quality. If you want to learn proper English, there are 4 aspects. 4 important aspects. They are grammar, pronunciation, spelling, and vocabulary. Grammar is the most important. So next comes pronunciation. For a spoken English, pronunciation is very, very important. Then comes spelling. For written English, spelling is important. For all the English, vocabulary is important. So vocabulary and grammar required for all, maybe written English or spoken English. So very, very important. That is why in the course book also they have introduced all these vocabulary here and there. Though they are not for exams. Exams will be only from workbook. So, but here, this is to have a good English, a good knowledge of vocabulary and bit of grammar. Now, next we have something called expressions. See, expressions. See, some of the expressions are all and, anyway, my book is slightly different. My book is only 4 or 5. All and sundry. All and sundry means everyone. See answer. Then second is cut in. Cut in. That is cut in means happy to accept anyway. Trying to find something or to meet some to have a particular habit. Let us see. Third one, by leaps and bounds. That means in large quantity. Leaps and bound means very, very large quantity. Very quickly and large amounts. That is F. Then we have listen in. Listen in. Because my textbook gives a different this thing. That is why I have not. But anyway, you can easily find out the meanings. Fair game. Fair game. So please, all of you take time and read and find out the matchings. So that is easy only. There is no much problem. But as per the old textbook what I have, there are only 4. In a flash. So in a flash means suddenly, flesh and blood, physically, out of hand, beyond control, vanish into thin air, disappear, and chance encounter. This is unexpected meeting. Anyway, next class, I'll just touch this also because the things are different in both books. The latest books have this, but my books has a different thing. So, with this, we have covered up the vocabulary area. In vocabulary, what we have seen? We have seen, first one is on, what is that? First is on antonyms and synonyms. So, synonyms are words having same or similar meaning. Second is the same word. It can be a verb, noun or adjective. The different forms will be changing. Then there are some expressions. Why these expressions are given? In the exams, we have 2-mark questions. 2-mark questions, there will be a small paragraph, small. In that, there will be 2 dashes and there will be 3 expressions at the bottom. You have to fill in with the correct expression. So, you should know the meaning of, say for example, very often this is asked, all and sundry, leaps and bounds. All these are expressions. Expressions are nothing but idioms and phrases. Expressions are in your workbook also. It's not given as expressions. It is given as idioms and phrases only. But in the textbook, in course book, we have different expressions and different lessons. So they're all taken out for exam point of view. And whenever I teach, I always tell the expressions. For example, in the gardener, there's something called chance encounter. Chance encounter. That means unexpected meeting. Then in Japan and Brazil, there's something like all and sundry. All and sundry means very growing very fast. Then fair game. Same in Japan only. Fair game. That means it is not unfair. It is quite fair. It is very good game. Then dear life. Dear means costly. For dear life. Castle, one's castle. That means very protective. All these things are expressions, have different meanings. Okay, then with this, I'll close today's. And for this month, this will be the end of course book. This month I have gone slowly and in detail because first 2 months we have gone little fast it seems. So I have reduced to 3 units only. First month 4 units. July again 4 more units and now 3 units. So 11 units are covered up and we have only 3 more and that is for next month. So next class onwards we'll go to the workbook. Workbook only I'll start with the most important grammar, that is reported speech. And when I do the workbook, there will be very less in your workbook. So I'll be teaching more of grammar so that you understand properly. You must have a notebook in the hand. You must start noting down, taking down whatever I teach. Okay then. Bye. Thank you.